Hello, my name is Bryce Budney, and this is my presentation on political suppression in Hong Kong. Hong Kong became a British colony in 1841 following the Opium Wars, and remained such until 1997, when control was returned to mainland China, through an agreement known as the Sino-British Joint Declaration, which outlined the terms by which the Chinese government would govern Hong Kong. This agreement embodied the one country, two systems ideology that was presented by the Chinese government, specifically Deng Xiaoping, in the discussions with Britain over Hong Kong. The Basic Law, a new constitution, was implemented as part of the agreement and took effect when China regained control of the region. This constitution outlines the relationship between China and Hong Kong, and includes many democratic freedoms, such as freedom of expression and freedom of the press, as well as universal suffrage to elect the chief executive. The Constitution also includes the one country, two systems principle, with China and Hong Kong remaining separate politically and economically. However, interpretation of the Constitution by the Chinese government has led to the delay of universal suffrage being implemented in Hong Kong. Attempting to restrict freedoms has been a pattern with China's involvement with Hong Kong. In regards to universal suffrage, China blocked such a move in the elections of the 2000s, but when suffrage was obtained, Beijing imposed a list of acceptable candidates for the citizens to elect. Furthermore, protests in 2003, 2014, and 2019 all highlight certain moves that China has made in regards to restricting freedom in Hong Kong that have upset the public. In 2003, a proposed national security law regarding treason and sedition was proposed and heavily debated by lawmakers, sparking protests driven by the public's fear of preventing free speech. In 2014, protests erupted when the decision was made that candidates for chief executive would be determined by China. And in 2019, massive protests broke out regarding a bill that would have required the extradition of accused criminals to mainland China, resulting in the complete withdrawal of the bill, as well as the siege and occupation of the Legislative Council building. These protests ended only with the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, and shortly after Beijing passed the 2020 Hong Kong National Security Law, or Article 23, which allows for the arrest, surveillance, and search of anyone engaging in political speech regarding the subversion of the Chinese government or the secession of Hong Kong from mainland China. It also requires internet services to remove content of the same nature from their platforms. Article 23 has been used to quell free speech and freedom of the press, specifically political speech, aimed at supporting democracy and those press organizations that support democratic thought. Specifically, a landmark case where two journalists of Stand News in Hong Kong, Chung Pui-kien and Patrick Lam, were arrested for conspiring to publish seditious materials. They published pro-democratic content and critiques of the government, and were in custody for nearly a year before their conviction, with Mr. Chung being sentenced to 21 additional months in prison. There has been an outcry of resistance to this law, with the United States and the United Kingdom both declaring that China had broken the one country, two systems promise. Taiwan also claimed as such, with its president stating that China had broken its agreement to not involve themselves for 50 years, and with Taiwan as another potential candidate for the one country, two systems ideology, it seems unlikely that they would agree to a similar arrangement. Many other countries, such as Japan, Australia, and Palau, along with other Western nations, criticized the action at the UN Human Rights Council, and some even suspended their extradition treaties with Hong Kong as a result of the law. However, a great deal more nations supported the action by China. These include Laos, Myanmar, Nepal, Sri Lanka, North Korea, and Papua New Guinea, as well as many Mid-East Asian and African nations, many of which are engaged in the Belt and Road Initiative. Overall, the Asian and global political world is divided on this breach of this agreed upon democracy. These are the links to the sources that I used for this presentation. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.